Welcome back, everyone, to another episode where we dive deep into the fascinating and sometimes horrifying wonders of the natural world. I am Hari, and sitting across from me is Kimmy. Today, we are unpacking a biological story that feels ripped straight from a sci-fi thriller.
Hello, listeners. That is the perfect way to describe it, Hari. We are talking about a microscopic monster known as Intraproboscis. Specifically, we're looking at the only known species, Intraproboscis sanghae. If you have a weak stomach, consider yourself warned. This is a deep dive into thorny-headed parasitic worms.
Exactly. These organisms belong to the phylum Acanthocephala, which literally translates from ancient Greek to thorny-headed worms. The story of Intraproboscis sanghae is remarkably recent. This genus was formally described in 2021 by Amin, Heckman, Sist, and Basso. They discovered it while examining a deceased 5-year-old black-bellied pangolin in Africa.
Which brings us to the geographic setting of our subject. The species name, sanghae, originates from the Sangha tribal region. This lush forest area is divided across the Central African Republic, Cameroon, and the Republic of the Congo. It is home to the primary hosts, the black-bellied and tree pangolins.
We must discuss those hosts because their conservation status adds a heavy layer of tragedy. Both pangolin species are highly vulnerable and face real threats of extinction. They roam the Congo basin, snacking heavily on insects, but that very diet sets the stage for the parasite's incredibly devastating life cycle.
Nature can be merciless. Scientists have not definitively pinpointed the exact intermediate host for Intraproboscis, but the general acanthocephalan life cycle gives us a clear picture. It starts when an infected pangolin expels eggs into the environment. Those eggs develop into an infective acanthor. Then a foraging insect unwittingly consumes it.
Inside that insect, the parasite begins a startling transformation. It sheds its outer layer and becomes an acanthola, burrowing into the insect's intestinal wall. Eventually, it reaches a larval stage known as a cystacanth. When a hungry pangolin eats that infected insect, the biological trap is instantly sprung in the wild.
The Trojan horse method of infection. Inside the pangolin's digestive tract, the cystacanth matures into an adult. Females of Intraproboscis sanghae can reach up to 180 millimeters long. That's over 7 inches, mostly consisting of a long, narrow trunk that shows pseudosegmentation, creating a unique ribbed appearance.
The sexual dimorphism is stark. While the females are massive, males are significantly smaller. A sappled incomplete male measured just over 94 millimeters. Regardless of size, the anatomy used to attach to the host is terrifying. The body consists of that trunk and a specialized feeding organ called the proboscis.
Picture a truncated cone covered in rows of tightly packed, anchor-like hooks. The front boasts 34 to 36 rows of 6 to 7 hooks, which actually increase in size going down. The posterior section has 15 to 17 spine-like hooks. The roots of these hooks ensure a terrifyingly secure grip.
They need that grip to pierce the host's intestinal wall. This is where the taxonomy gets fascinating. Initially, you might think this worm belongs to a similar genus called Meteorhynchus. However, 6 distinct morphological features set Intraproboscis apart. First, they infest mammals instead of birds, a major evolutionary divergence overall.
They also completely lack a neck, but the groundbreaking difference is an internal anomaly that gave the genus its name. Intraproboscis refers to the unusual internal position of the proboscis receptacle. This receptacle is a complex structure for housing the proboscis, and here it is suspended entirely within the proboscis.
Building on that, researchers discovered something entirely novel for the class Archaea acanthocephala, a parareceptacle structure. This sac-like organ connects the ventral body wall to the receptacle. It is a brilliant secondary attachment structure, and finding it represents a massive evolutionary bridge between different acanthocephalan groups. It redefines their entire phylogenetic lineage.
It is wild how specialized these parasites have become. They have a highly developed reproductive system. Females possess a thick-walled, round uterine vesicle that transports eggs, bypassing the need for certain glandular structures. They release oval eggs with layered concentric shells, protected within a specialized ligament sac, supported by prominent strands.
But the efficiency of this cycle spells doom for the host. When we talk about pathology, it is a grim reality. The physical trauma of having a heavily barbed proboscis attached to your intestines is severe. In at least one rare clinical case report, Intraproboscis sanghae was documented to have perforated the pangolin's intestine entirely, breaking right through into the abdominal cavity.
That perforation leads to secondary septic peritonitis, a fatal infection of the tissue lining the abdomen. The first black-bellied pangolin specimen from which this parasite was extracted died directly from this perforation. It is a stark reminder of the fragile balance these endangered creatures navigate while facing lethal endemic parasites.
Fortunately for our listeners feeling a bit uneasy, there is no evidence that this parasite affects humans. Since it was only formally discovered and named in 2021, no medical literature survey from that year could have systematically evaluated its history of human infection, but it currently appears we're off the menu. But for Central African pangolins, it remains a pressing natural threat. The intricate web of life connects small arthropods to unique mammals.
It highlights how much is left to uncover in the natural world. Discovering an entirely new genus along with a novel biological structure like the parareceptacle proves our dense forests hold profound mysteries. Every dead specimen provides a crucial puzzle piece for biologists trying to understand the grand evolutionary map.
Well said, Kimmy. I think that covers the dark journey of Intraproboscis sanghae. Thank you all for joining us on this exploration of evolutionary biology. Stay curious, stay safe, and we will be back soon with another fascinating topic. Have a wonderful day and take care.
This episode is based on the Wikipedia article Intraproboscis, which is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license. This podcast was crafted using artificial intelligence.